Hello children, hope you are all doing good. Let us start with the new chapter, metals and non-metals. Okay, before going into the chapter metals and non-metals, let us have a recapitulation of what we have learned in our previous classes. Let us see what is meant by matter. Matter is something which occupies space and has some mass. Now, how is matter classified? It is classified as solids, liquids and gases. Now, what are substances? They are again classified into elements and compounds. Now, what are elements? They are the pure substances. They cannot be broken up easily. For example, you have got aluminum, zinc, carbon, etc. You have got various wide variety of elements here. Now, compounds means combination of two or more elements. For example, carbon dioxide and water, etc. You can take number of elements or compounds examples. Now, in our periodic classification, how many elements are there? There are 118 elements. Out of those, 94 elements are metals and 24 elements are non-metals. Let us see the physical properties of the metals. Now, they are generally hard in nature. If you touch the metal, they will be very hard to touch. Lustrous means shiny appearance. If you buy a new metal, it will be with a shiny appearance. Malleability, beating up of the metals to thin sheets. For example, aluminium sheets and all, you have very thin sheets. Then ductility, drawing of metals to thin wires. Example, copper wire, which we use in the electricity purpose. Sonorous, ringing property of the metals. If you beat a metal, it will be giving you the ringing property. They have high melting and boiling point. That means they melt at very high temperatures. They are also good conductors of heat and electricity. The next point, they have the property of sinking in water. The note, all metals are hard except sodium and potassium. That means they can be cut easily with a knife because they are soft. And one more property, mercury. It is a liquid metal at room temperature. That is the reason we use it in the thermometer, right? Silver, it is the best conductor of heat and electricity, but it is very, very expensive. So we are using copper. Copper and aluminium, they are also good conductors of heat and electricity. Let us see the physical properties of the non-metals now. They are soft, they are brittle. That means they can break easily. They are non-lustrous, they are poor conductors of heat and electricity, they are non-sonorous, and then they have low melting and boiling point. Out of these 24 non-metals, we have 12 solids, 1 liquid, that is bromine, and 11 gases. What are metalloids? They are a combination of metals and non-metals. For example, you have boron, germanium, silicon, arsenic, tellurium, antimony, polonium. These are all the metalloids. Now, what is meant by an alloy? It is a combination of two or more metals. Example, steel, it is a combination of iron and carbon and chromium. Then we have bronze, it is a combination of copper and tin. Then brass, copper and now, let us see the chemical properties of metals. First, let us see the reaction of metals with oxygen. Metal plus oxygen, if it burns in the presence of oxygen, it forms metallic oxide. For example, zinc, if it burns in the presence of oxygen, it forms zinc oxide. One more example is magnesium ribbon. If you burn it in the presence of oxygen, it burns with a dazzling fire and it forms magnesium oxide and ash will be formed. That ash, magnesium oxide, if you try to dissolve it in water, it forms magnesium hydroxide. After dissolving it in the water, you test this particular magnesium hydroxide with the red litmus paper. It will change into blue. So you can say that magnesium hydroxide is basic in nature. This is about magnesium hydroxide. Now let us see about other metallic oxides. All metallic oxides are not basic in nature generally, because some oxides are acidic as well as basic in nature. So they are called as amphoteric. For example, if you talk about aluminium oxide, zinc oxide, they have the properties of both acidic and basic. So these are called as amphoteric oxides. One more important concept is alkalis. Most of the metallic oxides are insoluble in water. Just now we spoke about magnesium hydroxide. It is not completely soluble in water. That ash will be simply rough to touch. It is not completely soluble. But there are some metallic oxides, some of them they dissolve in the water to form alkalis. For example, you talk about sodium oxide plus water, it forms sodium hydroxide. So these are completely soluble in water. Potassium oxide plus water, it forms potassium hydroxide, aqueous potassium hydroxide is formed. So these are called as alkalis, and that magnesium hydroxide, it is not completely soluble in Let us see the reactivity series. Already we have learned in class 8. Okay, potassium, it is a highly reactive element. Then we have sodium followed by calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, hydrogen. Then after hydrogen comes copper, mercury, this silver, gold and platinum. Okay, let us see displacement reaction. A highly reactive element displaces the less reactive element. For example, you talk about zinc and ferric sulfate, iron sulfate you talk. Zinc is more reactive than iron. So it can displace this particular iron and it forms zinc sulfate and iron is displaced. So zinc is more reactive than iron in the reactivity series. Second example, iron plus copper sulfate. So what is happening? Iron is more reactive than copper. So iron is going to take the place of copper and it forms iron sulfate and copper has been displaced. The reason is iron is more reactive than copper. Here see iron, it is more reactive than copper. Next example, copper plus iron sulfate. There will not be any reaction because copper is less reactive than iron. The next reaction, we will talk about reaction of the metals with the dilute hydrochloric acid. Metals generally when they react with dilute hydrochloric acid, it forms metallic salt and hydrogen gas is evolved. For example, magnesium, if it is mixed up with hydrochloric acid, it forms magnesium chloride and hydrogen gas is evolved. Let us see the reaction of metals with the cold water. How some metals react with cold water. Metal plus water, it forms metal oxide and hydrogen gas is released. One more thing, metal oxide plus water gives rise to metallic hydroxide. Now, sodium and potassium, they are highly reactive, okay, in the reactivity series. So if you talk about the sodium, if it reacts with water, it forms sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas is evolved and lot of heat is evolved. Okay, and if you talk about potassium also, if it reacts with water, it forms potassium hydroxide and it forms hydrogen gas and lot of heat is evolved. Now remember, these two reactions are highly violent. That means whatever this particular hydrogen here it is evolved, this hydrogen immediately catches fire. Next, let us see the example. Calcium plus water, it forms calcium hydroxide and hydrogen. Now this calcium, it starts floating because whatever this particular hydrogen it is formed in the reaction, it sticks to the surface of the metal. So automatically that calcium starts floating. One more example, magnesium plus water, it forms magnesium hydroxide and hydrogen gas is evolved. Here also magnesium starts floating in that particular solution, okay, after the reaction is done due to the hydrogen gas. Here that hydrogen gas which is formed, it sticks to its surface. Concept, let us see the reaction of metals and non-metals. This is also called as ionic bond. That means the chemical bond which is formed by the transfer of the valence electrons from one atom to another atom. This is also called as electrovalent bond because there will be a transfer of the valence electrons from one atom to another atom. Let us see an example of sodium and chlorine. Sodium, what is the atomic number? 11. How many electrons are there? 11 electrons and 11 protons. So let us draw the atomic structure. 11 protons are inside the nucleus and 11 electrons are first shell. How many are there? 2 are there. Second shell, 8 are there. And the third shell, how many are there? 1. So 2 plus 8 plus 1. So 11 electrons are present. Now come to the chlorine. Chlorine, what is the atomic number? 17. 17 electrons and 17 protons are there. So 17 protons are located inside the nucleus and 2 electrons in the first shell and 8 electrons in the second shell, 7 electrons in the third shell are located. Now what is happening? This is not stable as well as this is also not stable because it has got 1 electron in the third shell and it has got 7 electrons in the third shell. So to make both of them stable, what you have to do is this particular electron will be transferred into this particular chlorine. Now what is happening here? The third shell, it has got 8 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now here also what has happened after this particular electron is being transferred, this shell will be removed. After this shell is removed, what will happen? The third shell will be having 8 electrons. Now this will also become stable. It follows the octet rule. After the transfer of electrons, how many are there? Only 10 electrons are left. Minus, so 10 electrons and 11 protons are left. Electrons, what is the symbol? Minus. And protons, it is plus 1. So you will be getting that particular atom has become a positively charged ion. So sodium has become a Na plus. So you call it as cation. Whereas coming to this particular chlorine, chlorine has gained an electron. So 17 protons are there. There is no change in the protons. What happened? Electron number has increased. It became 18. 18 means minus 18 and plus 17. Minus 18 plus 17, how much? Minus 1. So chlorine became negatively charged. You call it as anion. Now let us see the dot structure. Sodium has got valence electron. How many? Only one valence electron. No, that valence electron you have transferred to the chlorine. Chlorine valence electrons are how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now that same one electron you have transferred it here. So after the bonding, sodium has become Na plus and chlorine has become Cl minus. Here you have to put minus. So this is known as electron dot structure. Na plus plus Cl minus gives rise to NaCl. Let us see one more example of the ionic bond, magnesium chloride. Magnesium, what is atomic number? 12. Electronic configuration is 2, 8 and 2. And chlorine, what is atomic number? 17. Electronic configuration is 2, 8 and 7. So what is happening in the valence shell? Magnesium has got 2 electrons. If it transfers those 2 electrons, it will become 2 and 8. So its valence electrons will become 2 and 8. Electronic configuration has become 2, 8. So magnesium will become a positively charged ion because it has lost 2 electrons. So it will become Mg2 plus. And it is transferring, it is giving away 2 electrons. How many electrons are removed? 2 electrons. To whom it is going to give? To chlorine. Chlorine has got electronic configuration 287. But at a time it cannot accept, no, it will first accept 1 electron. So chlorine has become Cl minus and its configuration has become 288. Now let us see the dot structure of this particular magnesium chloride. Magnesium, how many valence electrons are there? 2. That only I have given it as dot structure. Chlorine, how many valence electrons are there? 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you have to take 2 chlorines because magnesium is ready to transfer 2 valence electrons. So if you take 1 chlorine, it is not sufficient. So you have to take 1 more chlorine so that 1 valence electron from magnesium will go here and 1 more valence electron from magnesium will go to the chlorine. So after the transfer of electrons, let us see the reaction. How? Bond is formed like this. Magnesium has become 2 plus. From single magnesium, 2 electrons are transferred. So it became 2 plus because it became 2 times positively charged. Then chlorine, how many chlorines are there? 2 chlorines. Each chlorine has got 1 electron extra. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the previous electrons and this is the extra electron it has gained. How many chlorines we have taken? 2 chlorines. So this is MgCl2. Let us see the properties of the ionic compounds. Ionic bond means what? Transfer of the electrons from a metal to non-metal. Just now we have seen the combination of sodium and chlorine. Sodium is a metal and chlorine is a non-metal. Let us see the properties. First, physical nature. They are solids due to strong force of attraction between the positive and negative ions. For example, we have seen sodium plus and chlorine minus. It forms a strong bond between this positively charged and negatively charged. It forms sodium chloride. So it is very, very difficult to break that bond. Second property, melting and boiling point. They have high melting and boiling point. So it is very, very difficult to break that particular bond. More energy is required to break the bonds. Third property, solubility. They are generally soluble in water but cannot be dissolved in petrol and kerosene. Next one, conduction. They conduct electricity in the molten state. Molten state means you have to add up some water. For example, sodium chloride we have seen in the previous chapter, chloralkali process. That means brine solution. I hope you people remember. That is sodium chloride and water. When you pass electricity through this particular brine solution, it forms sodium hydroxide, hydrogen and chlorine. These byproducts are again used for different processes.